Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know the uploads haven't been as often as usual, but you know, things to do, surprises to make, orders to fulfill. But today we're just going to conclude my thoughts on the Action Army AAC-C1 or Athena. I haven't had much time with it. My schedule hasn't really helped. I would have liked to have done a lot more content with this thing, but unfortunately it needs to go back to the guys at BZ Tactical. That being said, the time that I have had with this thing, playing around with it over the past couple of weeks, I hope I can give you sort of an introduction conclusion to this rifle. And it's probably not going to be the one that you want if you're looking at this rifle. I think if you're looking for something that fits the bill, a cheap bolt action, there are far better platforms out there to use. The Action Army supplement, you know, you can use VSR mags, which is great. I believe it uses VSR style hop units, inner barrels, hot rubbers, all that good stuff. I'm even under the impression that, you know, if you removed this CO2 or gas cylinder system, that, you know, if you replace that with a spring bolt, it would be more usable. And I stand by that conclusion. The CO2 and gas bolt system doesn't make a lot of sense. I think it's kind of like an idea or a system that's been rushed in terms of, you know, they perhaps should have thought this through before going ahead with it. I think it would have made better sense for them to release this as the Action Army AAC-C1 bolt action sniper, which is spring powered. Release it like that. That's how it comes out the box. But then, if you want to buy the gas or the CO2 bolts as, you know, accessories, that in my mind would have made perfect sense. They've brought, you know, a cheap spring bolt action rifle to the market that has the, you know, the path that they're going with it to, you know, do this, do that. Perhaps they're going to make different front ends and stocks, and it takes VSR mags, which most people, if you're running bolt action snipers, you've probably got one or two of them. So as a base platform, that probably would have made more sense to me. I'm probably not articulating this in the best way. But to do it the other way around and release it with a gas bolt system, and then you've got to buy the CO2 bolts if you want to use higher power, regardless of how many shots you can get on a CO2 bolt or a gas bolt, it's just not the most consistent way to do it. On top of that, creating a bolt action that fires from an open bolt like this, which gives you, you know, a gap in front of the cylinder for BBs, dirt, debris, anything like that to get in, also doesn't make sense. Bolt actions, people tend to like them, make them as quiet as possible, because when you're shooting away at people from, you know, further away distances, the last thing you want is to give away your position, and this thing is just going to tell people exactly where you are. You might as well use, if you're not bothered about the noise, you might as well use like a gas powered, you know, GBB DMR. There's just so many better choices out there. So the system doesn't make sense on how it's shipped. The mags do, the hop and everything does. You know, it's you know, run of the mill stuff. The aesthetics of this, they've made it look like a break action air rifle, which again I think is a step in the wrong direction. Why do you want one of your airsoft replicas on the field to look like an air gun? You know, and to sort of distinguish it in the same pattern as an air gun. We don't like to mix airsoft with air guns. They're two very different things, and this is kind of, the aesthetics of this is like bridging the gap and possibly creating, you know, issues down the road of people either misidentifying the rifle, or people looking at a video and going, oh, I can get one of them down my local gun shop for like £100 and I'll use that instead. It's blurring the lines, and I don't particularly like the aesthetics that they've gone for. The stock also doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, look how tiny the stock is. Yes, it's light. I'll give it that. It is light. This section here is too wide, so really the only comfortable way to fire it is to have your hand on the side like this. The bolt does kind of block access to the trigger. I mean, if you come in like behind the rifle like this, you can sort of slip it in, but my finger does sort of rest on the bolt when I'm not ready to fire, so that is a bit of an off-put as well. The safety works, you know, it's when you're pushing it down, it's not really a click, it's like a like a resistance push, and then when you push it back up, it clicks into place. Apart from that, no real issues there. It looks like it uses the same rear pin style bolt as the Aries Striker systems. So I haven't really had time to take this thing apart and play around with it all that much. I did want to try and do like a full disassembly video, but I don't think I'm going to have time to do it before it needs to go back to the guys at BZ. I'd like to thank the guys at BZ. They didn't have to send this to me. They reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested. So I really do appreciate them sending it out to me, getting the rifle to me, and letting me talk to you across camera on my thoughts of this. That being said, you guys know, I'm always brutally honest with this stuff. I've broken relationships with airsoft manufacturers just because I won't bow down and say great things about items. I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. And I can kind of get the idea that they were going with this. They're trying to ride that Action Army AAP-C1 train, and you can kind of see, like in the meeting room, what they were going with this. But it really is, with the AAC-C1 from Action Army, it really is a swing and a miss. And I did have high hopes for this when I first saw it. But if this is anything to go by, if this is like the production version of the rifle, I just don't see many people going for it. There are much better options out there. Namely like the new Silverback TAC-41 Light Sports. They're, you know, pretty much around the same price, and they're phenomenal rifles out the box. There's just no bullshit with them. There's no gimmicks. It's just a good bolt action sniper. As soon as you take it out of the box, put a scope on, and away you go. So yeah, there I am with it. Unfortunately, I know some of you were interested in this rifle, and you probably won't like the fact that I've got bad things to say about it. But I'm also not one of those YouTubers that gets, you know, nice things in the post and just says, "Oh, this is the best thing since sliced bread." You know, it's disingenuous. I have just noticed that there's it's like someone stuck a piece of rubber there to like tension the door. So I'm wondering if that's something that BZ have done, because I did wonder why this wasn't loose, because it seemed like it was a part that should be loose, but I don't know whether they'll come out the box with that little piece of rubber installed, or whether it is something that that's been done after the fact. So there you have it, the Action Army AAC-C1 in its current form. You know, they might make changes, they might make different versions and new releases, so we'll take a look at that in future. But if this is the current production quality, and this is the spec that it's coming to you out the box, is probably what I'm trying to say. Honestly, can't recommend it. So thank you all for tuning in. I know it's been a bit of a hit and miss on the schedule, just loads of stuff to do. Someone did ask about putting one of my new suppressors on this, and I really don't see the point, because, you know, I don't know if you hear that as well. Sometimes you can, as you're pulling it back, see this? Now listen. That's actuating the front of the cylinder, releasing a bit of gas. But yeah, all the noise comes from there. So I'm going to sign off there, otherwise I'll just be repeating myself. Thank you very much for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out the links in the description below if you'd be so kind. If you want to support the channel, if you want to support the camel, if you want to support the channel, there's a link in the description for Buy Me a Coffee. So many of you do ask from time to time, how can we support the channel? Best thing to do is go on there, and it's a tiny little kickback. Not many people do it at all, but if that's the way, if you want to put support into the channel, that's probably the best way to do it. If not, you can find a load of great products on the website. The website will be migrating to a different system soon, so that should change, and then it should hopefully have a cleaner look and better processes behind the scenes. But thank you very much, and as always, from me and Bench, we'll see you in the next video.